Hey, so I haven't vlogged in a little bit, and I was just talking to Kevin about this morning. This is something that I've experienced in the past week or so, but more and more I've been having this experience where things that I learned or was told, I learned them intellectually a long time ago, but I'm starting to really understand them now, and I kind of can't even say when I actually came to truly experientially understand it, but now it's something that is just I just completely understand it for what it is. And when I see someone else at a different stage in their development or something, I know that they can't access it. Um, a, a pretty easy example is being told to relax, right? And when you're very early in your development, you can't relax. It's not a relaxing thing to do things that your body is not used to doing, or to do them under pressure, or this kind of thing. And then the more experience you get, and you get to a certain point in your development where you understand what the relaxation is for, and you understand and can feel how that relaxation benefits and actually improves everything in what you're doing. Your skill, your speed, your power, everything comes from that relaxation. But even though you're told that from the beginning, you can't access it at the beginning. So right now, IFMA is getting ready to happen in Bangkok. That's the International Amateur Muay Thai all across the world. It's a global tournament. It's happening in Bangkok, so all of the national teams have come into Thailand a little bit early, and for a month or a week or a couple of weeks or something like this, they're all training at different gyms around Thailand to kind of stay sharp before the tournament starts this weekend. And at my gym, we had the Czech team and the Slovakian team. I keep laughing because when I was a kid, that was one country. It's not anymore. But so I was clinching with this kid. He's probably 15 or 16. He's a little bit bigger than me, maybe in the low 50s in terms of kilos and his weight. And he doesn't know me from anything. So when I was told to go in and clinch with him, he had no idea what to expect. And so I went in, I grabbed him, and I turned him, and I actually kind of threw him into the ropes a little bit playfully, not mean. But I threw a ghost knee over him, which is something that I learned, I was never instructed to do, but I learned over time is part of the play of kind of imitating, pantomiming real fights and real dominance. You use real dominance in clinching and sparring in Thailand. Aggression is not really part of it. You actually you get yelled at for that, and it gets kind of pushed out of you, but playing at dominance is very real. And I have control. This knee was nowhere near touching him, but I do understand that when you're not used to playing that way, or you're not used to sparring a certain way or clinching a certain way, even someone feinting an elbow or something, or a knee near your head that never would have touched you, the point is to put a little bit of a fear in you. It's could have got you kind of thing. And so I completely understand that this kid was a little bit freaked out by me throwing this ghost knee. And so he got up really fast, and he kind of got aggressive straight away. And I've been on the other end of this, where I get, in Thai it's called Rohn, which means to have a hot heart. It's completely hot-headed, the way that we say in English. It's being emotionally not in control of yourself, and kind of using aggression, and trying to get someone in that a little kid who's just gonna charge harder or something. And so he just came harder at me, he was trying to punish me for having turned him, and so I just threw him down again, and I just kept throwing him over and over and over again. And the more angry he got, the more I was unable to tell him to chill out and calm down. And I didn't say anything. I stayed completely stoic and just kept tripping him and throwing him down. And the angrier he got, the easier it got for me to throw him down. This was not that long. This was maybe 7 minutes or something. And then they switched me to another person who I actually thought there was only one of him, and it turns out it's two people. So they have two people on their team that are about the same size, and the second kid was way calmer. Again, also 15, 16 years old, something like this, maybe 51 kilos, maybe 49 when he's fighting or something like that. And this kid was the same in terms of I could control him very easily, but he didn't get mad. He didn't like being thrown down, and he got up fast. He got up in order to get that point back, or show that he wasn't defeated by it or whatever. He was doing good. But he didn't get mad. He was not Rohn. And so I actually was when I do this, you want to do this. I can't turn you if you put your foot here. You get better control if you keep your elbow on the front side. I ended up instructing him quite a bit. And his coach, who had watched both both me throwing one kid around and then me kind of instructing this other kid, he was like, what is this? Like, there's so much being taught right here. There's the kid actually, I don't know if he'll be able to access any of it in his fights coming up, because you don't learn stuff that fast. You actually have to spend time in things to be able to use them. But I was able to kind of work with him, and it was me being a complete bitch to the first kid because he was being an ass, and then me kind of being more generous in terms of showing things with the second one. And the point of this story is that I've been that Gyron kid. Like, I've been told, do not do that by so many trainers. Kem, up in the mountains of Khao Yai, who's an amazing trainer. He's in the Muay Thai library. You should definitely check him out. And if you're in Thailand, his gym is just beautiful. He's a really, really good trainer. He would throw me down or something, and I'd get up really fast and come at him, and he's like, Ya Gyron. Like, I didn't even feel mad, although now when I think about it, I was mad. I was like trying to get a point back in a like emotional way rather than I need to come back and like get that back. When I'm sparring with like Karahat, for example, I threw an elbow at him recently, and he realized that elbow would have landed. He had this very dramatic like bah, like that would have gone. And then when we came back to center of the ring, I had this kind of fear in me that was like, I know he's going to get that point back, but he doesn't rush to it. It's not like he's going to come charging back at me and get that point back. It's just, I am fucked at some point. Like, he's going to get that dominance back. And he did. But it wasn't straight away. It was like, chess game. Like, you kind of like work your way into it and get a bigger point back. But all those times that Kem was telling me, Ya Gyron, like, don't come at me, Gyron. You got to learn how to like calm down. You got to learn how to be like in control of your emotions all the time. In order to be able to actually dominate someone instead of just kind of overwhelm someone for a second and then lose it. This is like an incredibly Buddhistic lesson that goes into both the masculinity of Thailand, and women are supposed to be this way too, but this is like a mark of masculinity. This being in control of your emotions and like winning over your own heart, that like you don't have to defeat anybody, but you need to defeat your own kind of impulses and things like this. This is totally what you're being taught all the time. And like, I've been told so many times that my anger or frustration, I get frustrated a lot, and frustration is like anger that doesn't have a channel to go through, is a very similar emotion. When I get frustrated and I get kind of chastised by my trainers, I didn't like it, because I'm like, you can see why I'm pissed off, you can see why I'm frustrated, you can see why I'm emotional. Now I can see how that's totally working against you. Like, stop trying to drive with your emergency brake on, like just take it off. And it's crazy when you're trying to tell people like, you need to cut this part out, you need to not do that thing. It feels like the instruction you're giving them is just take the emergency brake off and drive the car without the emergency brake on, because that is the kind of difference it makes. But when you're at a different point, when you're at a newer point in your development and you can't just turn that off, you're like, I don't know how to drive on ice, or like it's a little bit dark and I don't know where the road is, so I'm going to keep this emergency brake on. It's like you're not helping yourself, but at the same time, they're just not at the point yet where they're going to understand what that means. And so I guess to me, it's kind of amazing that I don't know where that point came where I started to really understand these things that I've been told so many times, but I understand them now. And I can see how it's difficult to instruct that in someone else. And I think this kind of explains a little bit about what Kevin and I call the slow cook method of Thailand, which is that the instruction here is not super instructive. It takes a long time, and you're immersed, and you don't get a lot of like direct instruction. You don't get a lot of verbal instruction. You do get corrections. You do get told, step here, keep your hand up. You get hit instead of being told to keep your hand up so that you understand to keep your hand up. But there's something kind of ridiculous about how verbal we in the West like our instruction to be. What you're doing is not verbal. You don't have to verbalize how to do something. You have to like physically do it. And so I've been told to control myself so many times, and I've gotten frustrated and seen how it doesn't help. And then I'm seeing this kid get frustrated and seeing how he's basically like digging a hole deeper instead of like using the dirt that's coming off the walls to like level up a little bit. And there's nothing for it. Like, you just need time to move into the next development. Like, you need to spend time in that state in order to move to the next state, and you can't rush it. So it's actually kind of interesting at the place I'm at now, where it's like understanding whether someone can even understand a lesson or not. Like, this might not be the time that you teach someone that lesson. And that's been me. Like, for sure, that's been me, where I want someone to like help me fix something, or like, why are you not showing me how to do this? And it's like, you're not ready yet. That sounds totally like a Padawan kind of thing. Like, it sounds very, I don't know, esoteric, or kind of like romanticizing the pedagogy or whatever, but it's completely evident to me now. I was watching another guy in the gym who he was sparring, and he actually had really good instincts in sparring, but he just kind of didn't know where his feet were. Like, his feet were just not under him ever. And I've had this, like, I've had to learn where are my feet in order to know where I am in the ring or on the bag or near a partner at any given time. Like, you need to know where your feet are. And so you don't have to take like 9 extra steps to rebalance yourself for the next move, like this kind of thing, like punch with your feet, move with your feet, all this stuff. You can't just say that to someone and have someone understand what you're saying. So when I suggested to him, you don't know where your feet are, like maybe try to concentrate more on your feet instead of what you're doing in sparring, which is hard for someone to do, because when you're sparring, you have a lot of pressure on yourself, and you're trying to win or not get hit or whatever the thing is. And it was evident when I gave this piece of suggestion that that's not something that he's able to use at this time, which is fine. You're just like, all right, not now. I don't need to make another suggestion. That's fine. Like, I'm not in charge of this, but I'm not sorry for the fact that there are lessons that people have tried to teach me years ago that I'm only now just starting to understand. I'm not sorry for that, because it takes time. You don't know when you're ready for that lesson. It just kind of like falls into place when it's time. It's like those little games with the like balls that are rolling through a maze, and you kind of have to like shift the box around in order to get the balls to roll around through the maze and finally fit in the little hole that you're trying to solve the puzzle with. You just got to shift stuff around. Stuff's moving all the time. It's like different angles and stuff like this, and eventually it just settles into the place it's supposed to be, and it's like, oh, that's where that goes. That's what that means. And I guess I'm grateful for the fact that I understand these things now, rather than this being a like judgment about people not being ready for those lessons. But I have an appreciation for having been in the place that I'm seeing now. Like, I was there. I remember being there. And it's very cool that I do understand it and appreciate it now. So I guess learning to be patient with yourself. And my friend Robin likes to say feeling bad never made anyone feel good. This is kind of what I'm realizing about all my frustration and stuff like that, is that like not getting something right, or not being able to do something that you feel you should be able to do, or kind of being bettered by someone, or something that you could do yesterday you can't do today. All of those are very, very rational reasons to be frustrated, but actually letting yourself feel frustrated doesn't get you anywhere. Like, that frustration doesn't get you anywhere. It took me a really long time to understand when I'm being chastised by my trainers, when they're like, ya Rohn, like, you need to get the point back, get the dominance back, but don't be Rohn about it, is just cutting that part out so that you can like get to the actual part you're trying to solve is not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. So I'm happy that I have moments of that. Every little moment of that is really, really good. So I'm grateful for that. That's my vlog for today. Sylvie out.